love the moment that Eric gets up to go do something, his camera disappears on him.
Well, that's I think what it is I don't use this PC for a lot more other than this, so I don't tend to close out the browser window. So it gets confused, and then it does not like that intro video, so it just freaks out and says, well, fine, I'll restart.
I thought it was just like one of those chairs like on a tractor where if you get up, it just shuts everything off. So
Yeah.
as long as,
one of those?
I've
Yeah.
seen
as long as
those.
you're sitting
Yeah.
in it, it stays on.
Well, welcome back, everybody, after a long break, and Callie coming back, and everybody being back. I know it's been a bit of a long break, so we might take a moment here to not only recap the last session, but kind of generally recap where we are, and get a feel, because I don't know if anyone noticed, but tonight is session 30, if you can imagine that. And what I love most about the fact that this is session 30 tonight is that you guys are still in the same city. Like you, and I don't know if this is something you planned or if it's been just that feeling that you want to be in the city. But it's just like and what level are we now? We're level
6.
Oh gosh, 6? I gotta look. 6, I think.
Yeah, I think we're level 6 right now too.
We spent a really long time in the last campaign not going to the place where we needed to go.
Yeah.
A long time, like 2/3 of the entire campaign was not going where we needed to go.
Going to the Shattered Isles, I know, it's been crazy.
We're supposed to take a boat. We're just going to stop over here for a minute, and then we're going to go the rest of the way. Yeah, that minute was a while. That was a long stopover.
Jrusar is a city of many faces. It's also at the center point and has become the crucible of change. Lots of intrigue and activity. The team coming together in a kind of nuanced way, both for the purposes of responding to a city crisis, as well as responding to a world without the Fae. And the thread that seems to begin to unwind in this journey within Jrusar is that there are many different people at play, keeping secrets, keeping hidden agendas, so much so that as this single thread begins to get pulled, other small threads seem to unwind from the single thread. We learn that Karina Prime is intricately involved in a plot that Lord Callion has begun to implement. For whatever reason, she was held in secret, both imprisoned in the Chandei Quorum administrative tower, but seemed to be connected to this Regina Greencloak, who was tasked with keeping her hidden away in some kind of bastion-like fortress somewhere deep in the Ramadan Desert, or possibly the Hellcatch Valley. We begin to watch as a story about Eritrea begins to slowly unfold. And this unfolding story seems to point at the possibility that his belief in Sarenrae, the idea of the goddess, the mother, well, maybe there's more to it than that. As we are now delving into this celestial entity called the First of Fallen, the very first Azamar ever to exist on the material plane of Exandria, and what that might mean. We're learning of organizations that have specifically been plotting the capture of Fey creatures, the capture of the remaining Fey creatures, at least within the area of Marquet. Whether or not it goes beyond the boundaries of the continent of Marquet is a little bit more nuanced, for sure. But the team has grown together. They've settled into their own little shop that they procured, called the Prancing Centaur. And from here, they launch little opportunities to either gain information or even free those that become captured, and have learned through all of this a particular nefarious individual only because he seems to be slightly involved in all the different occurrences, an artificer that goes by the name of Crimp. And what his entire plan is, or what his entire involvement, is hard to know for certain. Because whenever he's on the edge of its obvious nature of involvement, he seems to slip through the fingers of information, unable to hold on to the grasp of what his involvement might be. Meanwhile, all of this brought the team together at a place called the Gilded Mirage. Here at the Gilded Mirage, the truth of Bragsworth was revealed. And this truth was that Artagan, the Archfey of the Feywild, has been secretly finding and safely securing those Fey that are still in the material plane. For Artagan still believes that the Feywild can be brought back into existence. He's not sure how, when, or if it can happen for certain, but he feels it can. And by aiding those Fey creatures that have become embroiled in being trapped within the material plane, he seems to have given himself the opportunity to successfully begin to pull this off. Unfortunately, his plan is to take on Lord Callion directly, and to hopefully learn through, by taking on Lord Callion directly, to understand who this Minotaur is, who goes by the nickname Spike, for obvious reasons, for the horns, who seems to be a member of an organization called the Iron Collective, a group that seems hell-bent on using its wealth and its influence to capture, and what they actually do with the Fae is subject to, well, no one really knows. Some think the worst, some are thinking that maybe they are simply carted off into imprisonment, but no one knows for certain what happens to those Fae that are captured, except Melody, who almost became captured by the Iron Collective until the team successfully rescued her and burnt down the Airy Spire in the process of doing so.
That was
However,
entirely the professor. It was not me.
However, as the team sat in the Gilded Mirage, it was Karina that was reunited with Karina Prime's parents. They spent the better part of the evening talking and getting acquainted and getting caught up to all the things that were going on. It was Forn, Professor Jabaltros, Eritrea, and Melody who sat down with Artagnan to learn the full truth. In the midst of this, Artagnan needed to go and deal with something that was happening. And it was that moment that something linked to Jabaltros's past had finally caught up with him. A gateway opened up to one of the 9 hells and extended these creatures that attempted to capture Professor Jabaltros and drag him back, kicking and screaming, into the hellish gate because of something he possessed. That device was destroyed. The team began to realize that the entire fight took place in a illusionary bubble where no one could see this fight taking place. And it happened so quickly that when Artagnan returned, which was less than a minute or two after he left, he was shocked to discover that his sanctuary that he had built with the idea that it could never be penetrated had been penetrated by this creature, this demon, this devil. The team then focused on the connection of the fallen one, the Azamar, the first of fallen, and began to question Artagnan about this entity. Began to try to understand better as to why this entity seems attached to Eritrea. Even the possibility arose, is Eritrea actually potentially an avatar vessel lost to the material plane, and perhaps an unknown god or goddess or entity has been searching for this avatar vessel, and maybe the first of fallen has been the first one to find Eritrea's existence and might explain the encounters and moments of interaction between this ghostly and we don't even know if it's a dangerous figure yet. It was in the middle of the night, in the midst of a long rest, the Eritrea suddenly found himself wide awake, staring over at Forn's bed, hovering dangerously close over Forn, and extracting some kind of magical energy from Forn's physical existence. The entity known as the First of Fallen, not even moving an inch until the head just kind of swings to look over in Eritrea's direction, and then crack of energy, and the image was gone. It is early morning. All of you can click off a long rest. You're still in the Gilded Mirage, back together again.
Oh, I didn't sleep enough. I'm still tired. Drained even.
I'm not entirely sure what you're complaining about there, Fortnite. This was a wonderful night's sleep. Couldn't ask for better.
You said we're like in the lounge right now, all together.
You're actually in your room. You're up in your the ensuite room that Artagnan had led you to the previous night.
I'm just kind of staring blankly into the distance, like I'm zoned out. Clearly, look stressed out and bothered right now, and I just kind of like look worriedly at Foreign. I'm just like, I think you and I need to talk.
Okay.
And I don't feel the need to hide this from anybody else with everything that's happened or what I've revealed recently and what you've seen, but Foreign, I saw something sucking energy out of you last night.
Jrusar.
And you didn't kill it?
The second I looked at it, straight in its eyes, it disappeared. And
Thorn starts like looking for bite, like looking, feeling around, like
it was nothing. It was nothing. And it's odd that I revealed everything to you last night and what Tignon had revealed to us. I think it was Davini.
Davini was here?
I believe so, yes. And it was sucking some sort of energy out of Foreign. And I'm somehow feeling responsible for this. Because my connection to the gods and who's attached to me.
I'm sorry.
Classic.
I'm so sorry.
Did his cat just destroy the computer?
I think so.
it was the cat or him, one of the two.
That was me. That was my fault. I had to rebuild a computer last night, so I'm kind of trying to get everything squared back up. It's like, oh hey, I can't quite do that, so I tried pushing it back up. No, and it made a keyboard for another computer fall on my current one, and it didn't. Like
But you can hear the plastic slide on plastic. It reminded me of the old days when I used to stack up 3.5 floppy disks on my shelves, and they'd all go sliding off the shelf.
But yeah, that was on me. I can't blame the kitties.
No, actually, you
let's
can.
fix
That's
this.
what they're there for.
Eritrea, look, you don't have to feel bad about anything. I mean, except not killing the thing, or attacking it, or nothing. Other than that,
I had the power to do so.
it was a stressful evening last night. I'm like eyeballing Tally or eyeballing Karina, like, yeah, it was very stressful. Where were you? Out of like that.
Yeah. Karina has never looked better. She looks very well rested. She's still like riding that vacation high of having a free afternoon in this game. Sorry. Yes. That's terrible. It seemed very tough. I can't imagine how hard it would have been for you guys to do anything without me.
I mean, two of us about got dragged to the hells, maybe? I don't know where it was.
That's rough, buddy.
Two of us about died a couple of times. It was something.
Don't tell me about dying a couple of times. No, I'm sorry. I hope you guys are okay. I also hope that whatever this is did not steal your soul, your energy. Does any of us have any ability to just kind of check porn for anything unusual?
I don't think I do.
I think I can detect magic myself.
Is there any
I guess-
way for you saw some sort of tendrils of spirit kind of coming out of me last night?
Yeah.
Is there any way you can see there's some sort of connection between me and you now with those tendrils?
Or I can try it again. While we're sitting around, I'll prepare the ritual and ritual cast identify again on Eritrea.
Okay. Same occurrence. No real change.
Like you see, Foreign's like waving his hands, or like he's touched you, and then he starts like waving his hands around in front of him, like and like over your head, like he's just running my hands, like trying to feel through the streams that I see and seeing if it's affecting him at all. I assume it has no effect on it, but that's just Foreign's, like, because
Right.
last time he was kind of stunned by it. This time he's like, what if I touch it? That kind of.
Yeah. Nothing's changed. It's still there. These tendrils of silver threads floating off into the ether, seemingly all originated, all connecting, all kind of intersecting with Eritrea's existence.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I don't see anything. Nothing's coming my way. Let me say it that way.
Foreign, outside of one of your many hangovers, have you ever felt this way waking up in the morning?
I mean,
I'm trying to connect some dots to see if maybe this Davini has visited you before.
I have to think about it, but I haven't really. Look, I haven't attributed it to anything other than I just didn't sleep well. Otherwise, I it's hard to recall.
That's understandable.
I'll try and summon evil and see if maybe he notices something weird about Forn.
She notices something weird about Born.
I mean, I guess other than the usual. Now,
Yeah, I mean, when you have a half-dead crow familiar that's named Evil, and he can identify something weird about one of your living friends on the material plane, I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
I mean, technically, evil's Fey, right? So
Well,
he looks like a half-dead, terrible crow thing, but
how can you summon things from a place that doesn't exist?
yeah.
I guess also technically the Raven Queen is in the Shadowfell. So
Technically, yeah. But didn't the Shadowfell collide with the Feywild, and both those realms were destroyed? So where does evil really come from, I wonder?
man, we're really opening it wide open. I guess I'll ask Evil 2 questions. Also, since Karina slept,
Yeah, sorry, mistress. I found a partial dead animal in the alleyway, and I was gorging on it. It was tasty. Sorry. Yes, mistress. What can I? Yes.
hey, so Evil, our friend
Yeah.
here, Born, had So what was that thing that was feeding off of him? A fallen divine entity?
But yeah, the first of the fallen, actually, if we're going to be specific about this.
Somebody was feeding off your friend Fawn.
Yeah, and it was definitely not a sleep paralysis situation. It definitely happened.
What would you like me to do about it? Want me to bury him? Is he dead? He looks alive. Hard
Um,
to tell.
Do you have the ability to just kind of detect any kind of stuff?
Well, I detect stuff all the time. Garbage, half drinking drinks, castaway pants, strange body glitter. Yeah, all those things. I can detect.
Well, why don't you kind of look at Thorn for a bit and tell us if you detect something?
You watch as the crow kind of flies down from the rafters of the room that you guys are in, and it lands on Foreign's shoulder. And Foreign, you can see its little bird rib cage kind of protruding through the feathers. Its neck feathers are kind of worn. You can see the neck muscles and tendrils inside, and you could see you can actually see its little bird heart pumping quickly, and its strange opaque blind eye and one normal eye. It smells like somebody left a rancid chicken out on the lawn for too long. And he's just got that sweet decay smell about him.
That's a super specific description that, we'll have to learn about sometime.
And Evil sits there and like nuzzles up near you and taps your forehead with its beak. No, mistress. Just another fey creature. I don't know what to tell you.
How familiar are you with Fays, out of curiosity?
Not very familiar. I don't hail from the Feywild. I hail from the Shadowfell. Well, fragment remains of the Shadowfell, anyways.
What is it like there right now?
I don't know. I haven't died recently. You can always send me back, and then I can come back and tell you. No, please don't. It's very painful.
Karina has her gun out.
Orn's hand is creeping closer.
Flies back up into the rafters.
Evil, you coward! It won't hurt that bad.
Evil's up in the rafters looking down at you. I'm not a coward. I'm just cautious. Yeah.
Do you identify as a fiend? I feel like he was a fiend, right?
I'm Faye.
I mean evil, but I feel like...
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about me. I was like, no, I'm Faye.
I mean, he's probably more an aberration because he's a familiar.
Yes.
Maybe?
Makes sense. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't overlooking something under my nose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A lot of things have been going on underneath your nose, and you're still alive, so it may not be that bad.
Well, I guess I'll cast Identify and Detect Magic. And I'm also curious just because Karina is very neurotic about putting alarm all over the room wherever she sleeps.
Yeah.
No alarms were tipped off in any way, right?
Nope.
Okay.
They would have woken you up, so no, definitely not.
So
Begs
Karina...
the question, did Arrow Trio really see what he saw? Because how did that creature, if it truly was there, not trigger one of the alarms? I mean, your magic's decent enough, you feel like that would have been picked up. But and who are you casting Detect Magic and Identify on?
Forn.
On Foreign. As you cast Detect Magic on Foreign, his Fey essence, including the few magical items in his possession, obviously all tick off on the box. As you cast Identify on him, there's a hint of an absence of his Fey essence.
Man, I'm sorry, Eritreo. I thought you were just being a wuss, but I think you were right.
Well, I don't appreciate the attitude about it, but thank you.
I'm very interested.
I feel like Karina's just getting darker and darker in this 6-4 line.
Karina's
Vibe.
second away from hot
Yeah.
topic.
She's got to counter Professor somehow.
Well, she's not used to not detecting stuff happening around her, so she's assuming that he's just being flighty for some reason. Because, like, why did she not notice something happening so close while she was sleeping?
I feel like that's going to make her more paranoid now.
She's not gonna be nice about it.
But yeah, it's like as you cast Identify on him, it reveals his true form and essence and everything that you know about him, which is accurate. Except there's a very subtle diminishment of it, like his battery is just a little bit on the low side, like a little bit of his essence was drained.
Some of your Fey essence was drained.
What? How? What? We need to talk to Artanian. We need to talk to Artanian now.
While, yeah, we're mostly Fey. We don't want to deal with whatever this is.
No, he is an archfey. If this thing, according to him, the way he described where we are, excuse me, sorry, the way he described where we are right now, it's like a pocket inside of reality. We're here, but we're not here at the same time. And when he described the entrance of the professor's friends, and that whole scenario, he was very disturbed that something could get in to this place. So now, not only has the professor's friends gotten in, but also this First of Fallen, which I look at Air Trail like feeds on Fae, like a vampire. Artanian needs to know this right now. It puts everyone in this place at risk.
Couldn't agree more.
Do we head out the door?
Yeah, I think so.
As you guys head out of the door where you're staying and into the hallway, you follow the long hallway back down into a now very empty Gilded Mirage. It's early morning. It's got that after New Year's Eve feel to it. The people are still cleaning up. There's that, people stay up till 2-3 in the morning, gambling, drinking. There's maybe 1 or 2 people lingering nearby. You can see Artagnan is over by the bar, kind of talking to one of the centaurs that are currently in the process of managing the bar, restocking the shelves, and Artagnan is kind of just giving them, there's nothing worse than when you're working and the owner of the place that you work in thinks that they're your buddy. You know that vibe, that weird vibe, So they're like working, and he's just like, well, there was this one time where me and 4 pixies got together, and we found ourselves in the middle. Oh, you guys are awake. Hello, good to see you. How did you sleep? Everybody sleep okay?
No.
Oh, unfortunate. What has happened?
Would it be easier to just have him cast Identify on me? Would that look? Just cast Identify on me.
Are you sure? I will.
Positive.
It's very different when an Archfey does it than when others do.
Go for it.
Well, I must say, we should probably have breakfast first. I mean, on a first date, I'm identifying you. I mean, come on.
Dude!
I grab his hand and like touch his face, like, like it's one of
That's
those.
not
Like,
really how it works. Actually, I have to do the invocation, but that's fine. I'm not like a battery operated tool. I mean, I'm just saying I'm a bit of a tool though. There was this time that me and
Eritrea.
hey, right here.
Oh, sorry. Very well. And he quickly does the invocation of identify and kind of lost for a moment. Like there's a minute where he's just simply not there, and then he pulls his hand away. Fascinating. Any bite marks or any kind of lesions or cuts or
None
what
none
has
that I've
happened? You have been slightly, how shall we say, drained of your fey essence. I've never experienced such a thing before.
and yet it was here in your sacred space.
Oh, Pshaw, you must be mistaken. Must have been something you ate or something you did. Doesn't make any sense.
Eritrea.
I know what I saw, and it was potentially a very powerful being sucking energy right out of it.
And this being, you're convinced it was the first of fallen?
Yes.
Fascinating. See, in the old days, I would zip back to my kingdom and access my many friends and allies and try to figure this out. But unfortunately, that doesn't exist anymore. It is but ash in the wind, with the occasional place still barely holding itself together. Why, dear boy, why is the first of fallen so intrigued by you, I wonder? What is it about you that it seems to follow and go where you go? Seems to want to communicate to you.
Treyu, did you think that Davini meant you to see them? Or were they surprised? Could you tell?
I wouldn't say surprised, but he didn't linger around for me to have any sort of communication. He didn't want. Davini is so powerful that, from what I saw, it's not like they're afraid of me, but they may not have wanted me to see exactly what they were doing. And I don't know why.
So they must really have. Maybe they weren't here for you. They were here for foreign.
Eritrea, do you trust D'Artagnan?
As much as I can right now, frankly, I don't trust him as much as all of you.
You guys can hear the empty glass of a beverage being slurped through a straw. He was probably on his third drink of the morning, and then he raises an eyebrow. Trust me? How could you not trust me? I'm perfect.
Look, hey, you identified me. Do it to Eritrea as well. See if
no,
we're
I've never been in a
the
throuple
same
before.
thing. Look, this is important because when I identified Eritrea, I found there's threads, silver threads, coming off of his being, but there's two particular, like, strong threads, but there's all the rest are like tiny little. I don't know what it means.
What makes you think I'll know what it means?
Aren't you supposed to be helpful? Be helpful.
Well, I mean, anybody is free to be helpful, but that help has only got value if things can be figured out or understood. I mean, just because I'm all powerful doesn't make me all knowing. I'm not
I
even
didn't
really
call
sure
you
I'm all
all powerful
powerful anymore.
I've wandered away and am ordering mimosas.
Can you get me one, Melody? That's a good.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Yes.
Karina really hates him. This is stupid.
He kind of eyes over at Eritrea and Before we continue down this pathway about what Aero Trio experienced last night, I'd like to revisit Professor Jalbatross's uninvited friend that attempted to retrieve an item on Professor Jalbatross's possession. And I know the item's destroyed. I know we kind of discussed it. But now I have to take into consideration that perhaps this sanctuary needs to be relocated.
I need you to know, like, it was never my intention to bring up a fell creature like that into the space. I do assure you that was completely beyond that. I would never have known had I known even the slightest bit about that stupid medallion that I had.
Well, that's quite fair, but I think the original question that never truly got answered last night is you were explaining to me about the gateways that you were using and their lack of use that got you trapped here. I think it would be important for all of us to maybe pay that gateway a visit.
I believe there's one in perhaps the smaller spire. There was one in Jrusar. The one that was at my work site wouldn't allow me through. I came here initially to test it out, and then met up with these fine people. So, by all means, I'm willing to attempt.
Well, something to consider. Now, identifying Air Trio. Air Trio, can you explain to me your past? What is everything that you can remember?
I was essentially felt like I was thrust into Jrusar about 2 years ago. And the music's starting to get it threw me off a little bit.
A little smallest violin playing now.
Yeah. And I had some sort of sense that Sarenrae had sent me here, and she almost
But
described
from
it.
where? From where? Where do you have a memory of where you come from?
No. And she was very vague, just that I needed to preserve the good of this cursed city. It was a very big and vision. I didn't know any better, so I just wanted to try to, inch by inch, help those that could help this city. There's contact with her. She described a vague man that my presence might be, myself might be based on, that she identified as a father of mine. That really not many details were given, but I felt like I owed her my existence.
I mean, I have heard of divine intervention before, but this kind of takes the cake, doesn't it? You are perhaps a byproduct of the outcome of divine intervention, then? Are you a person or a representative of something else altogether?
Up until last night, I thought I was just a person, but now it seems like there's others trying to use me for their own deeds.
Oh, well, yes, welcome to Jrusar. That is a common
But
theme thread around
yes,
here.
I understand, but I don't really know who I am anymore, and if the things I've been seeking are natural to who I am as a being. Am I just being forced to do things based on someone else's will? Are there multiple people forcing my will when I make actions? Are they actually my actions? I don't know these things. And I'm starting not to trust my judgments if they're genuine of my own, or if I'm just following those. And is it for the right reason? Is Sarenrae even the one in control?
But you genuinely feel yourself connected to Sarenrae, do you not? I mean,
I do. It's just because it's my first
You feel
memory.
her divinity. You feel her divine light. She clearly
Yes.
answers your calls when you use your magic, correct?
Yes.
And I know it came up last night, but I'd like to delve a little deeper if possible. But Fawn, you had mentioned that Eritrea cannot die.
I don't know if he can't die, but he hasn't died, and he should have died at least once, twice.
I
Intriguing.
think it was just that one time outside of me fainting in battle.
Hard to
Oh, you
tell.
faint
go,
in
you go
battle
down.
too. I faint in battle.
Well, that happens. That happens
Yeah.
often. I'm what they refer to as squishy. But
I know
They
that
make
term
pills for that when you get too excited and your heart palpitates and
He reaches out and grabs your hand. I'm going to cast Identify on you. This is going to feel a little bit strange. My magic is, how shall we say, a little different than most normal magic would be. So I will try to be cautious, to say the least. Oh, thank you, Melody. That mimosa looks amazing. Thank you very much.
Quietly handing people mimosas.
Yeah. The best hangover drink ever invented. His eyes close. The green light of the eyes go out, and he begins the invocation of Identify. A couple minutes later, he comes out of his trance, looks at all of you. I have never experienced anything like that, ever. Those tendrils of light that are connected to you, and you are more than just a person, Eritrea. You have divine connections. You feel the world in a different way than I think most of us do. Those tendrils of light leading from your body out into the ether, the ethereal plane upon which you identify. You are in transition, dear boy. You are a beacon. And a beacon of what? I do not know, but
yes, do you have any idea who's these tendrils are going to?
I don't think they go to anywhere. I think they are attached. I counted. It's going to sound strange, but I counted 9 tendrils of power. 2 are more brighter and, well, kind of, shall we say, more powerful, I think, than the other 7. I think these are tendrils that lead to the location of the missing gods. And I think the reason why 2 of those tendrils are brighter than the others is because Davini is located somewhere here in Jrusar and has taken an interest in you and has seen the beacon and has followed that beacon of light towards you. But yet there's another tendril. I think something seeks that beacon of light as well. Hey boy, you are connected to those gods that have chosen to walk the material plane. Those gods that remain hidden from the veil, who chose physical existence over divinity to preserve themselves from being destroyed by Predathos. Best I can tell, you're not an avatar, dear boy, but you're a beacon, a signal, a place for these creatures to remain tethered to for a purpose I'm not entirely sure. I cannot help but notice that casting Identify on you sees that you have 2 existences, one here on the material plane and one within the ethereal plane, which is nothing more than a thin fabric of magic that exists between the material plane and all other planes of existence. Have you tried stepping into the ethereal plane, Eritrea? Do you tried that yet?
No.
Well, if you are connected to it, one must assume you can manipulate it. Perhaps it's an unfounded power that you are not aware of?
But is it safe for him to do that? If people are
That's
looking
the
for him?
question, Melody. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if his exposure in the material plane is hidden, and therefore if he exposes himself in the ethereal plane, what is the transgression? What would happen? Would that be an announcement of his existence? And maybe he's hidden here on the material plane for a purpose. Maybe Sarenrae placed you here for a purpose.
You just kind of go. Well,
I know it could be frustrating, but sometimes these things have a way of working out and revealing themselves. I mean, it's a pretty interesting trick that you seem to be unable to, well, the moment, based on Fawn and the others witnessing it, when you didn't die, when you fell in combat.
I mean,
do you-
Corinna died. We went through all the rituals to bring her back, but you. I don't know how you came back.
neither do I, but I think those tendrils have something to do with it.
What do you want to do, Treyo? Do you want to hide? Do you want to look for whoever you're connected to?
I would like to look. I think whoever I'm connected to is going to try to find me. I worry about it endangering all of you. But I would like to truly know who it is, and I would like to know what Davini wants with me. It seems malicious based on what I saw last night.
Well, she wasn't eating you.
Yeah, but I consider you a friend. So it's malicious to me as well.
Well, three of us here are in danger for just existing. Especially just existing here in Jrusar.
And I guess I should stop throwing myself a pity party. I would like to try to figure out who's seeking me and what they truly want. Artignan, do you have any indication of where we could find more answers about this?
Well, I would imagine that your best opportunity at deciphering this is to figure out if it's safe for you to travel to the ethereal plane. If you can make that determination, and you can therefore figure out a way to travel to the ethereal plane, I would imagine a great deal may be revealed to you.
How can I figure that out?
Well, some would say simply learning how to do it and then step through and see what happens. We could seek out professional advice in regards to the ethereal plane. Unfortunately, the only person that I know of that may possibly know a bit about it is kind of a cantankerous old wizard who goes by the name of Caleb.
God damn it.
I'm sorry, Karina. Did I say something wrong?
No, oh, it's all okay.
Touch a nerve, a loose end, a raw nerve under a bad tooth.
In a
Don't
past
worry.
life.
Past/present.
That's right.
I just have a sense for those things.
somewhere out in the Hellcatch Valley, a familiar gnome sits up as her ears are burning. Why did that fucking wizard just come to mind? Well, I think we have many possibilities here. One is the safe removal of all of my Fey folk here that need to find safe haven, as well as seeing if we can find someone to answer this question about Eritreo's risk and involvement with the ethereal plane. For now, we can consider Professor Jabaltros's situation isolated, as long as he doesn't carry any more pendants, items, or unique antiquities that have been dragged from the gates of a hellscape or something like that, perhaps. Although I'm very interested in seeing this gateway that Professor Jabaltros originally used. And of course, me and Fawn, and you watch as our tagline changes into the tiefling form of Bragsworth. We have an appointment with a particular Mr. Lord Carrion, do we not?
Yes. Yes, we do. We do. I was thinking,
Uh-oh.
if it comes down to it, he's a powerful man. Do you know where I'm trying to craft some ammunition that I could use against some adept magic user like Kalian?
I mean, you probably know this city as well as I do. This sanctuary has been my home here for quite some time, ever since the Fae collapsed.
I assume I should just have to try and track down Crimp, but I'd rather not be killed.
Yes, Crimp. You mentioned him before last night. I find it interesting that he's not quite a person of interest for me. Should he be a person of interest for me?
I worry that he would be overly interested in you.
Oh, sounds like a fun time.
Sometimes he seems to barely be able to hold himself together. But then his eyes change colors, and then he's all right. It's very unnerving.
Interesting. Very interesting indeed. So, with that in mind, who would like to come with me and Fawn to have a conversation with Lord Callion?
You know.
Do you want to take a paladin with you for some help with saving throws?
I don't know what any of that means, but sure, come along. It seemed like a fun time.
I think that if you had me or Professor Jalbatros with you, that your sort of fortitude may be increased.
Yes, you could be my, how should we say, I've arrived in a wholly strange and new city. You can be my fixers. You guide me through the city to give me insight into proper choices to be made. Fawn has absolutely insisted upon it.
Corinna, you could theoretically go looking like Regina, right?
I could, but I'm really trying not to risk it by being around him too often. I feel like there's probably some method of communication he's used to reaching out to her with that I am unaware of, and it would be very bad for me if he caught on.
We think that he already knows that we're all affiliated, right? Or do we think that he doesn't know?
So far, your only interaction with him has been either through disguise or through the fact that he knows Fawn's a bounty hunter.
He knows. He knows about the Prancing Centaur, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't theoretically know that Regina is not Regina, and that Regina knows,
Correct.
Fawn in any capacity.
As far as you guys are concerned, Regina Greencloak is
gone.
Being held by the Bright Queen.
Mhm.
I would be curious to follow up a little bit with Professor Nerdtreo spiritually and see if I can research any of the gods or entities they've come into contact with.
All right, Melody. I believe it's we Fey against the world.
All right, let's do it. Let's have a couple more mimosas and then let's do it.
This orange juice doesn't taste right. It's sweet.
No, it's fine. It's good. Sip it down.
Yeah, no, it's good. It just doesn't taste like orange juice. He's got like 4 in his hands.
Oh, no.
Little flutes, like.
I feel like 4 mimosas to Foreign is nothing. Like his
Wow,
tolerance has got to be sky high.
Breakfast. That's breakfast.
And so is the Jrusar and Karina, are you coming with us or are you doing something else?
Oh, the professor was planning on going. Like, it kind of feels honor bound to go since all the stuff with the gates is kind of not necessarily based off, but kind of led from them and their story. So yeah, they're absolutely going.
Well, Rita was trying to talk to you and Eritreo.
I guess if we could all go together, if we're not all going together, then I would just like to do some spiritual research while we're here. And also, I guess, what is our next step after this? Do we have a sense if there's anything we need to prepare for?
It sounds like our agenda items are like this meeting with Callian, going to see that portal, and then trying to figure out how Eritreo might get to the ethereal plane, which would involve talking to Caleb.
I can see if I can do some research on that in advance, since I have some experience with portal stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'll get us started on that.
You also have the thread of the other Karina, the other Karina.
Yeah. The other Karina. Yeah.
And
Karina's
what
right.
happened? Well, also what happened to Loomis, which may be tied to Kalion now.
I know Karina technically spoke to her parents, but I would like to ask them a few questions about what they know about all of this. Do you guys feel like you would benefit from having more people talking to Callian, or would that start to feel suspicious?
Talking is not what Born is intending to do.
What is Foreign? Foreign, what are you intending to do during this meeting?
Well, there's a reason Foreign is asking about bullets and anti-magic kind of related things and difficult stuff, because Foreign does not at all trust Kalion and is supremely worried. I think I mentioned it like to Artanian before. Like, I don't want Bragsworth to meet Kalion. Now that I know that Bragsworth is Artanian, I don't want them to meet, because if I know this information now, I worry that Kalion may already have put something together about it, or he's aware that, or at least that Bragsworth's not who he seems.
So, are we thinking we're like killing Callion? Because that seems like a 5-person job.
Yeah.
If so, can I beg an excuse to go back to the shop so I can, talk to Binder and like find out if that hammer that he's had for like 6 weeks is worth getting?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
I think that I
In
feel
game,
like
not in game.
killing Lord Callian is going to put a lot of heat on her back, and it's going to be bad for business. And maybe we should all go, but just a few of us actually like walk up to him and we just try and get information and not kill him, and then do that later so that we're not like in a situation where there's a manhunt for us and we have to flee the city.
That sounds like a good... Oh, so I was going to say, that sounds like a good plan. We can have maybe the 3 of you interacting with him directly and a couple of other people in the periphery to be on the safe side. I definitely agree that whatever Krimt has in mind to use, Ragusworth's paintings for is probably related to the Shimmerling and to some of the stuff we've seen.
I also feel like Callian is kind of like the low man on the totem pole. Like, it seems like he's been out of the loop on stuff and it's making him really rattled. And maybe he's an easier guy to get information from than like trying to get it from Crimp later.
Thorn's just not good at that at all.
We'll have
Thorn is susceptible to people reading his mind, basically, so it's easier to spill their mind all over the floor.
Melody is a good charmer, though.
Yeah, as much as I want to figure my own things out, I am worried about Foreign reacting pretty, erratically. It might be best if more of us are with him to potentially help him flee if it gets really bad.
How do you guys feel about me, Foreign, and Artagan meeting with him directly and you guys being hidden 30 feet away, if that's possible?
Sounds good.
Sounds
Right.
like a plan.
Giving Professor like a cloak so they don't recognize the giant bird person walking around.
You get him a plague mask, so
He's a giant bird person who likes to talk too much, too.
put a plague mask on him and like a big hat, really
Excuse
high.
me.
But he tries to talk and it's like his beak's held shut.
This beak is really
halfling to the birds.
The curve of this beak is really quite uncomfortable.
I'm certainly glad that we've all decided not to kill Lord Callion. That's not my initial intent. I'd like to discover more about who he's working with and who's, as Melody has pointed out, perhaps we can find out who's really pulling these strings. He's clever, but I don't think he's the boss.
Before we go, one final question. So we spoke to this very charming changeling, and she mentioned that there is a community of changelings, I believe in the Hellcatch Valley, who are all kind of work in the good Nick kind of assassin jobs. Have you chanced an encounter with anyone like that?
I know precisely who you're talking about since I've hired them in the past to do rather secretive work for me. They are an independent organization. They are called the Obsidian. They are a community of changelings that will, do what pretty much all changelings do. Spy, assassinate, smuggle for a price of coin. I've used them in the past as a means to smuggle some of my more precious friends out of dangerous areas.
Do you know where they all come from? It's kind of unusual for a community like that to form.
Well, if I knew where they all come from, they would hardly be, how shall we say, covert and secretive now, would they?
As always, you have been no help.
Yes, it's hard being an archfey looking like this. Thorn, Eritreal, Melody, and Professor Javeltros. Shall we go?
Again, I would, if it's at all possible, I would prefer to be able to stop by the shop momentarily, but if not, we'll make do.
We can take the gondola over to the Fate-Watt Bridge and retrieve your precious hammer that you think you need.
It's on the way.
Speaking
You're
of
such
the
a dad, Thorn.
speaking of the shop, how much more time do we have left to pay off?
It's only been like a week and a half.
It's only been like a week and a half. Okay.
Yeah, we had a month.
And I'm kind of making glances at Karina.
Karina takes out her little book of like money that she's owed at this point.
That will be another 492 gold right there. Yes.
It's
We're last time we were at the shop and went through the night, we were at 205
Yeah,
left. Yeah. But that was like 2 days ago in game time.
in game time. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should probably start doing a better tracker of the game time.
Oh no, I had to go back. Look at this. I had to go back through this much notes from
It's-
the last time we were at the shop.
Right.
Yeah, it was March 9th was when we paid them last.
damn.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Been a
real
little
life
while.
time and game time have a way of squeezing
Yeah.
together, don't they?
Session 12, I think it was at that point.
Jesus Christ.
By the way, parents here, I would imagine they'll be waking up soon. We shall be on our way.
Oh, you don't want to say bye to your parents first?
Oh, you guys start going. I'll catch up to you. And she goes to talk to her parents.
Hey, Corinna, do you want to leave a token with them?
That's a good idea. Thank you for suggesting.
I'm sorry, it's strange. Like I hand off one of my like hair knots. Yeah.
Ew.
Can I have a token as well?
Right.
Thank
You know, like the whole gag is like he just braids his hair in these cool little knots and has them hanging in his jacket, and he just hands them off to people. Unless it's a tooth.
Melody definitely wants the hair, not the tooth.
You could braid it into your hair, you know.
I think I'm
my
gonna-
hair's white, yours.
Karina, as the others leave and linger outside the Gilded Mirage, your parents come from downstairs. They see you. They come up. They quickly hug and embrace you. And well, that was an interesting night. It was good to see you again, dear.
I don't think I got to ask you, but for how long did you know that I was not the same as the other Karina?
Tawny looks over at you. Well, we always thought it was a bit of a blessing. Ever since the rumors of the collapse of the Feywild and what had happened on Rudius and the apogee and the solstice, we always felt that was a gift of remembrance. That even though true Karina had purposely gone missing, we had always felt that your intent was well met. Your sense of feeling personal about what happened. We don't know. We don't know why we just fell into step with accepting you and being okay with it. These are hard things to explain, Karina. I mean, after all, look at where we are. The Lord Callion's people raided our residence, and
You okay?
your friends here, the one with the horns, he successfully led us to the Gilded Mirage and made sure that we were safe. He felt that it was important that we be safe. And then he mentioned that he would expect you to come by at some point. He seemed so familiar, so certain about everything he would say. He seemed so how shall I say? He seemed so calculative, so absolute.
That is strange. I'm not sure how to ask that, but did you ever feel like the choice to keep me and not look for the other Karina, to keep Karina, although she evidently was not your biological child to begin with, did you ever feel like those choices were not truly made by you?
Physicality is a temporary thing, Karina. I think that the gods chose to take Karina away and to put you in her place. While some don't believe in the gods anymore, I'm still firmly a believer that we are going through a particular challenge. Their absence, their chaotic nature that they find themselves in, I think is meant to challenge us, meant to help us understand ourselves even better. I see what happened with you and our daughter as part of that challenge.
Is there a specific god you feel has come to your aid in this challenge, or has did this challenge for you?
I think what Jorgensen's trying to say, dear, is that we have always believed in all the gods. We've believed in divinity as a sense of power and purpose. When things are unexplainable, it's easy to reach out to the gods and try to have them help explain what is going on. But ever since that incident that occurred all those years ago, and the sudden absence of their voices and their soothing sounds since then, since the destruction of the Feywild and the fall of the Shadowfell, I think these are all challenges that were given for a reason. And if they chose to take our daughter as a means of preparing us for that challenge, then who are we to question? Maybe it's not about one god. Maybe it's about all the gods. Maybe your purpose here is a purpose well intended to aid us in better understanding what we must be prepared for. I mean, look at the friends that you've gathered around you, Karina. They've never really questioned your sense of what you do. They seem to want to help you as a friend or as a person that would be dealt with as family. And they are all unique individuals, to say the least. So maybe your purpose is with them. Maybe everything that you're experiencing now is part of what was intended for you to experience.
They, along you guys, are good company, and I am thankful for it. I just want to know what forces had set this in motion, and what forces might be after the original Karina.
Why Lord Callion had Karina Prime imprisoned in the Hellcatch, I do not know. I do know she's free because of you.
She is on the run, in partly because of me.
Well, I know Melody's sister and her companion are coming to pick us up and take us to where Karina Prime is, to keep us in hiding with the nomadic clans of the Hellcatch. We are safer now than we've ever been before. Whatever this Lord Callion's intention was, whether he considers himself father of Karina Prime, you watch as your parents exchange awkward looks for a moment. I do not know. All I know, she is my child. She was blessed with a purpose. Her absence gave us you, and we saw no reason to question that. We accepted it. When Lord Callion appeared on our doorstep, demanding the location of Karina, I knew things were going to turn sour, and poorly. We fled the residence knowing that he'd be back for sure, take us into custody, and force us to answer questions that we had no answers for. Therefore, he'd assume that we were lying. One of the great conundrums of not knowing the truth of something is that I'm not lying. I truly don't know the powers involved. But before we leave, She gives you a huge hug and a big kiss on the cheek. Know that we consider you our daughter as well. You've helped given us back our daughter who's been missing for quite some time. The least we can do is give to you what we no longer have purpose for. And she places a small leather satchel in the palm of your hand. And you could tell that it has some kind of key inside of it. This will give you access to the money changer and the family vault. There is 100,000 gold in that vault for you, Karina. Use it as you choose fit. If you want to stay and fight and finish your works here, I leave that up to you. But me and your father are going to go stay with Karina Prime in Rockhaven. We're going to have a bit of an adventure. We're going to leave this city to you and your friends and let you figure things out. This is magic above our knowledge. No place for the likes of us.
I promise to only use it to secure a future in which you won't have to be in hiding, and to restore your family or our family to what it might have been in a better time.
Jorgensen steps up and grabs you by the shoulders and lifts you up and kind of spins you around and sets you back down on your feet. I always knew you had a special purpose, Karina. And you'll remain that way. But your mother's right. If we stay, we will be not only a hindrance, but a potential liability if we're found.
I have to ask one final question. When I was brought to your estate, I was brought with a group of figures, I believe from the Shadowfell. Have you ever encountered them? Have you ever met them in any capacity? Do you recall any strange individuals that might have been around the estate around the time that I have arrived, or that the original Karina disappeared?
You watch as the two parents exchange concerned looks. Tani looks at Jorgensen. Well, you might as well give it to her. I intended to. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a brooch. Nothing overly fancy, nothing too simple, just a plain, ordinary copper brooch that is emblazoned with the image of the Tree of Life, a druidic symbol, a very common nature symbol. But there's something a little bit darker, a little bit more shadowy about the symbol itself. It's in dark, opaque hues of black and gray. And there seems to be like tendrils of something hanging from the limbs. And the brooch is maybe the size, big enough to fit in the palm of your hand. And you can see the dangling remains of where chains used to hold on to the brooch, where you could wear it around your neck. When you were brought to us, the stranger never revealed herself. In fact, we never saw her face. She simply said, when the time was right, present this brooch to the young child. Well, the time never seemed right at all until now. Me and your mother are leaving. You seem to be in the midst of a possible challenge. And perhaps this may help. I don't know. Jorgensen grabs your hand, puts the brooch in your hand. We love you very much, Karina. And we trust you.
I will not let you down. And she hugs them one final time. She gives them the token. And she wishes them well. She lets them know that Karina Prime has the book, that they can communicate more than. She also tells them not to trust Bragsworth blindly, because she does not.
Fair enough. You guys say your goodbyes. You head out into the front of the magical entrance of the Gilded Mirage, and there patiently waiting for you are Bragsworth, Thorn, Eritrio, Melody, and Professor Jabatros.
All good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh,
Oh.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, guys.
Is that emotion on Corinna's face? Emotion beyond anger and hatred?
She points a gun at you.
Understood. Understood.
Francis just kind of drapes a wing over Karina, just like, Thorn, back off.
Aw.
Let her feel their feelings.
It's cool. I'll comfort the professor for a while.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you. I've needed to vent for quite a while.
I ain't saying he's a gold digger.
You guys have no idea that money yet. As far
But
as you
he is a broke
gold.
he is a broke bird, and he has made it well known several times.
If you guys think that this 100,000 gold is we're taken out, you guys have another thing coming. Karina has not changed her personality in the last 5 minutes.
Thorn, are you impugning my motives?
Yes.
Melody, you hear a message in your head. You look up to see an airship, a very small air skiff, kind of circle over the area that you guys are in, and you watch it kind of bank away. There's at least a dozen people on it, and leaning off the back of the air skiff, you could see your sister's hair kind of like in the wind, her colorful attire, her big pink smile and freckles staring down at you. And you could hear the message in your mind. Hey, sis. Good to see you. We'll take care of them. Don't worry. And then you watch as the skiff takes off into the horizon.
In my head, I think, oh my god, you look so cool.
You guys are walking through the busy streets and markets. Before long, you're back at the Fates Walk Bridge, and you're back inside the prancing Centaur, which is quite busy and active with patrons. Even Bradsworth goes, oh, what a pretty shop, and immediately kind of just starts looking at shelves and little odds and ends and containers and little ceramics everywhere. There's Binder over by the counter, and of course the hammer that's on top of the counter. Binder kind of wheels over and immediately places a small leather bag of 42 gold coins in somebody's hand that's keeping tally of the daily earnings of the shop.
Oh, Binder, my good lad. How are the feather things selling? Any good? Anything at all there?
You watch as Binder's form kind of pivots to look over at the back storage area of the downstairs kind of inventory area, and there's like this huge mound of feathers just kind of leaking out from underneath the doorway and through the cracks and crags. Not as well as I'd hoped, sir.
I mean, price is no object on these. I was hoping to make a bit of profit, but I mean, anything like literal god feathers. You have mentioned that in the advertising, right?
Yes. Although I get very questionable looks when I mention that they are god feathers.
Perhaps leave that off. We need it.
Maybe I can just simply call them, how should we say, griffin feathers. There seems to be a market for that.
I like that idea. It's a little not as honest as I would like. I don't think that's going to translate particularly well to this system, but very well. That mall I gave you, have you been able to identify it?
It's a very interesting mall, sir. Where did you acquire it?
I picked it up from a pirate captain that attacked me. That incident in the docks that occurred that I was responsible for.
It calls itself the Mall of the Thunderstrike.
Mall of Thunderstrike. Interesting.
It's +1 to hit, +1 for damage, and it can be used to cast the lightning spell once per day.
Interesting. +1 damage, +1 to hit, and lightning once per day. Interesting.
Orn picks up a pillow and like approaches one of the people there. Look, I hear sleeping on these pillows is divine.
Just The professor just peeks around like behind Binder, like the most obvious thing in the world, but thinks he's being like stealthy. Just
Thank you very much. I wasn't shopping for a pillow, but it seems very lovely. Okay.
Divine.
You're very creepy. I'm going to go now.
Wait. Don't forget your pillow.
excuse me. He is. I know. Like my companion here isn't the most honest-looking fellow, but you're free to cast any type of enchantment on me you wish to verify my house. These are actually the feathers of a god. My god, actually, Rimnus, the god of eagles.
Kind of looks between you and Four, and he goes, I'm gonna go somewhere else. It's lovely meeting all of you interesting people. You watch as Bragsworth like opens up a container and like something flies out, zips around and flies back into it, and thank you, bye-bye. And the patron just kind of leaves the shop in a hurry.
I feel we were very close there, Forward.
I'll tuck a feather in my hair as like sort of a fashion piece. And we'll see if anyone will ask about it.
Yeah. I love it. Give me a persuasion check on that.
All right. Well, that's 17.
Nice.
How is it that we've been playing an hour and a half? That feels like the first dice roll.
It's the first dice.
It is.
Right?
Was.
I think it was.
Yeah.
That is weird. I didn't even notice it until like, wait, is that the first dice roll of the evening?
It literally is.
You guys watch as she kind of braids it into her hair and lets it kind of hang there, and then props it up behind her ear, and it kind of sits in her fawn horns, back and kind of up and over. Looks nice.
I mean, you're good at making everything look nice,
I know. And it's much more profitable to sell it this way, feather by feather, instead of in a pillow.
Fair. I did not.
I think, an accessory like this, 5 gold.
You know what? I know nothing of that. I know absolutely nothing of the world of fashion. I will take, by all means, if you think you can, and it helps the shop, by all means.
There's a run on god feathers now, and
I'm not gonna. I gotta take my old man drugs.
So with that, Professor Jabatros gathers up his new maul. It's been identified for him by Binder. You guys end up back in the busy market area of the Fate Walk Bridge and begin to head over towards the gondola that will take you up into the core spire and up into the tops of the Chandei Quorum administrative structures.
Could we have asked Artagan if he can persuade Callian to meet at the Stargazer Tavern instead of in his offices?
I could message him actually because
I like that idea. That is a clever idea. The Stargazer is very neutral ground, plenty of people, witnesses, and
Open air.
maybe take the tension off of the meeting, perhaps. I still don't understand why Lord Callian has asked Bragsworth here, so not a bad idea.
But I'll take care of the message. And I go into my trance and send the message because Callian has a token. And I send the message sounding as exhausted as I can sound. Look, Bragsworth is very insistent that we meet at the Stargazer. He was hard enough to wrangle around anyway. I don't know if you had anyone posted at the dock and saw that fiasco, but I tend to agree with following him there. If you would meet us there, please, sir.
Give me persuasion, if you would, please.
Okay. Oh, not great. Not terrible, though. 14.
Oh, but you're probably within 5 feet of Eritrea. Maybe you get guidance?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, definitely.
D4. 16.
Nice.
16. Drunken fool must be hungover again. I've heard of his partying reputation. Fine. I will meet you and Bragsworth at the Stargazer. Be there in about an hour.
Perfect.
All right, yeah.
Stargazer's up in the Airy Spire, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys switch the gondola from the Core Spire to the Airy Spire. Begin to take your way over into the Airy Spire, which is still under a bit of reconstruction and other activity over by the airship stanchions where the airships come in to dock. Some are still able to come in, but for the most part, it's got limited use to it.
Wonder what happened there.
You guys arrive. It's only mid-morning at this point when you arrive at the Stargazer. A familiar Goliath bartender is there. Sends you a bit of a knowing glance, Karina, because he knows who you are, correct?
I guess it depends which form I'm taking.
Well, if you haven't mentioned the form, I'm assuming you're in Karina form with your crow.
She's never in her Karina form anymore because it
Okay.
is too dangerous.
That's fair. So what form are you in?
I think my least suspicious form is
Mingle.
Spingle is my least suspicious form. I feel like I need a new one because all of them have been doing some suspicious stuff. So if anybody has a good pun for Lord of the Rings, real quick.
Grandolph, and you're just an
Ooh,
old woman
Grandolph,
in like a chair,
Good one.
like an elderly lady.
D6 inspiration for Forn. That was well done, Grandolph.
Oh yeah.
Very quick too. Very quick.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, Grandolph. Like somebody's pushing you in the wheelchair. Okay, Grandolph. whatever you
Hi.
say. Back in my day.
Give me a beer, Sonny.
Come give some sweets to old Grandolph over here.
She just has like a big cane and a big hat and just like a whole bunch of like grocery bags.
I love it.
I feel like Eritrea should hide since he can't disguise himself.
You know, the building over there sometimes in the right wind has a really good sight on this shop. As long as the wind's not blowing.
Will he be able to hear?
No.
Actually, is there
Is there like a barrel I could hide in?
You dress him up to push Grandolph's wheelchair.
True. I think
Oh, that'd be good.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay,
So we'll
Grandolph,
say-
yes.
So, Karina, since you could change, that would be given the help action to Eritrea, and you guys dress him up like your caretaker, like he's responsible for taking care of Grandolph. So Eritrea, give me deception with advantage.
I doubt that's my strong suit.
And guided.
And yeah, you're guided. Remember, guidance is now an aura effect.
What would that be for? Come on. Oh, here's with advantage. Nice. Double eights.
Ooh.
Hey,
Oh.
isn't that Jrusar's luck?
On
Only during
an
combat.
attack roll.
Only during combat, I know.
Oh,
10 total.
I tried.
He's
I know.
halfway there.
That's a 10.
10? All right.
I will prestidigitate him a little bit to like his clothing to kind of really exaggerate that he matches Grandolph. Like they're clearly traveling together.
Foreign, give me a deception check as you try to bolster the ability to hide Eritrea in plain sight.
Ugh. Deception?
With
Okay.
guidance.
Yeah.
With guidance,
With guidance makes it 17.
17. Between the 10 and 17, we'll say it's a 15. Someone
nice
would have
there
to.
too with some just like costumes.
Well, you've already given the help advantage by being the changeling form of Grandolph. So we'll say that if anyone makes an insight check of 15 or higher, they may be inclined to be suspicious. So that we'll set that as the DC.
They could just be suspicious that he's taking advantage of Grandolph.
At this point, then Brokum would definitely not recognize you, Karina. As all of you come into the Stargazer, because it's mid-morning, the sails are pulled back, so the ceiling is open, looking up into a relatively clear sky. No rain on the horizon. A sense of a little bit of humidity as spring is, definitely here within Jrusar. Winter far behind it, but being near the jungle, even up here in the spire, the humidity does make its way up here. So with the paneling open, and it's in its like open air mode currently. The circular bar in the middle, you can see the Goliath Brokum over preparing the afternoon drinks, and the wait staff that are kind of going about the tavern and kind of taking orders. A dwarven waitress comes up and or tavern keep. It's not a tavern. What is a tavern? A dwarven server arrives to take your order for lunch.
Barmaid? Is that what we're looking for?
What's that?
I said barmaid. Is that what we're looking for?
Well, I don't. She's not really a barmaid because she's not behind the bar. So.
Yeah.
Well, what can I get the likes of you? Would you like drinks or food?
Drinks.
Drinks all around? Is there a preference for anything?
Do you have something with sort of like a wiggly straw or a flower in it?
I'm sure that we can make a regular drink and put a wiggly straw and flour in it for you if it helps you drink it better.
3 of those.
Absolutely. Would anybody like food or anything else?
Please. I'm a little hungry.
Very well. I shall bring over a sampling of the lunch menu. That'll be 1 gold, please. Thank you very much. 5 minutes goes by. She comes back. All the trays of food and everything's down. Bragworth picks up the drink with the wiggly straw and flour, starts drinking at it. My. This does taste better when there's playful items in it.
That's what I'm saying.
Just gotta choose it up.
I'm gonna pop up my aura of otherworldly elegance in anticipation of this conversation.
Okay. How long does that last, and what does that do again?
It lasts for an hour, and it means that when I make a charisma-based check, I treat a roll of 9 or lower as a 10.
Love it. You guys are currently sitting around a table near the back end of the Stargazer. Karina, when you look like Grandolph, what does Grandolph look like?
I think Foreign said it best, just a really tall old lady. I think she has a hat. I think she has dentures. I think she has just like an unnecessary number of bags. What is clearly a wig. And she just looks a little kind of like disoriented and, harmless and disoriented.
Love it.
And a pipe. She has a pipe.
All grandmothers should have a pipe in fantasy play. I agree.
It's like a really long stem pipe too, not like
a church warden pipe?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a bit of a stir at the entrance of the Stargazer as Lord Callion enters in. He pulls down his cloak and kind of corrects his vestments to kind of shift them. He looks across, can see Foreign and Bragsworth and an unfamiliar entourage sitting there as well.
I'm doing my best to put on like a very disinterested, like, oh my god, you're finally here. Let's get this guy away from me.
Yeah,
kind of
give me either deception or performance.
Okay.
Can I give the help action by like kind of jostling him and laughing too much, being annoying?
Sure, yeah.
Hey,
Cool.
storyteller.
I needed that. Oh, okay. Yes, with the help action was great because the first roll was a 1, but the second one was a 19 though.
Ah, all right.
But that was deception, so it's a 24.
24. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jabaltros?
Hey, could I use the time that we've been in the the bar here, but just kind of sitting at the table? Can I use that to prepare but not cast a spell just in case we need it?
Sure, absolutely. We'll treat it as a held action in case things go sideways. I like that.
Yeah. All right. So it is I need 10 minutes to do it. So I wanted to get that prepped, but it is if needed, I can just.
Okay. We'll say that while you were ordering food and waiting for Lord Callion to show up, you had taken that 10 minutes to prep it and get it ready as well.
Speaking of, just because am I just me or am I in disguise for this? Because
Well, he's not
I thought the
familiar
original
with you, so it's kind of up to you.
okay, all right.
I mean, he's only familiar with Karina when she took on the Regina Green form.
Okay.
He's obviously familiar with Foreign because he hired him to keep an eye on Bragsworth. He claims to be familiar with the idea of the Prancing Centaur, but you're not really sure what that means. So, I mean, he's walking towards the table, raises an eyebrow at Bragsworth, who is clearly drinking yet another drink, which, he's not overly surprised. Sees you with your dejected look, and as he arrives at the table, well, I see, Bragsworth, you live up to your formal reputation. Always the party man, I take it. Lord Galleon, would you like to have a drink? You look salty. Please sit and join us.
Okay,
Well,
he's
pulls out a
here.
chair, sits down. You
All
look
right,
exhausted, Fawn.
Very much so. You have the payment, right?
Oh, we're not complete yet. We'll have to get through this meeting first. And if I am satisfied, then you no longer need to mind the child.
Another round of the fancy drinks, please.
I see you've brought an entourage. Ooh, a lovely entourage indeed.
She doesn't help. It's
Like, you watch Melody put down her hand. Lord Callion gets up, walks past Melody, and reaches for Karina's hand. I must say, good lady, I am always fond of a woman that's so assertive, smoking a pipe. Well done. And just kind of gives you a quick handshake, a tap on your shoulder, and goes back to sit down across from.
Oh dear.
Oh, you know how to make an old woman blush.
It only works in a southern accent, though.
Right. I do say, sir.
Can we do an insight check on whether he seems to know that Karina is not who she appears to be?
Yeah, you give me an insight check on that.
Also, I should say, I thought that Eritrea and I were just sitting in the table next to you guys. I did not realize that we were just like this motley crew.
No, you guys were sitting at another table. You weren't with us.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and he got up, walked past Melody,
Damn.
go to the next table, and give you salutations.
Ice cold.
I got a 22 insight.
Yeah, you get the feeling he was wondering if that was an illusionary spell, but because changelings physically change, you get the feeling he was probably testing whether or not that was Karina, but found the look of Grandoff very unusual for a place like this, and was just
You went too hard.
suspicious. And by shaking her hand proves to him that she's real.
Okay.
If she was using the disguise self, it would be illusionary, and therefore when he goes to shake her hand, it would pass through the illusion, and he would have picked up on that. He is a wizard after all. He knows his stuff.
All right.
He stares awkwardly over at Eritreo and Grandoff, who clearly Eritreo is the caretaker for Grandoff.
She kind of whispers to her caretaker, he doesn't know I'm married.
Yes.
Well, no, in that old lady whisper though, where like their hearing aids aren't working, so it's a whisper at full sound, like all decibels.
Yes, Miss Grandolph. Yes. Take another sip of your drink. Take another sip of your drink.
Soup.
3 more, and I am free.
You guys are terrible. It's like we haven't seen each other for a while.
Yeah.
Well, shall we get down to business then, Bragsworth? And for if all this works out, you are relieved of your duty. And Bragsworth can return to whatever hole he crawled from over.
Oh, I assure you, it wasn't a hole. It was gilded, and it was all made up and loud, and it was definitely not a hole.
I was referring to his coming from Hell's Catch, but wherever he came from today, I could care less. So, Bragsworth, let's talk about that painting that was acquired by the Greymakers. Bragsworth raises an eyebrow. Oh, the one that was the cause of such a stir recently. Yes, that very one. I am interested in the magic that you use to make that happen. Oh, I don't use magic to make anything happen. I suspect that was a separate occurrence, dear lad. It's impossible. I've had people with exceptional skill look into the remnants of that painting, including the creature that crawled out of it. And I was given very specific information regarding where these things came from. You must have some kind of magical ability. Well, I paint what I see, and I see what I feel. I'm not sure what else you would expect from me in this regards. Well, before you leave this city, I would like you to commission me a painting using the exact methodology and the exact purpose of the previous painting that you did before, that you gave or sold to the Greymakers. Well, Lord Callion, I would love to do that for you. But you see, all of my paints and brushes and canvases, well, they're all back in the Hellcatch. I brought nothing with me, dear sir. I assumed that you invited me out here to offer me some kind of position within the administrative structure of your, how shall we say, administrative services. Now, why would I want to hire a drunk to be a politician? I'm surrounded by plenty. Well, I figured, why else would you ask me out here? I mean, the assumption that I am an entity of magical purpose is a bit too looming for me. Sir, not exactly aware of why you're saying what you're saying. But let me be crystal clear. The very nature... Uh-oh, the lights go out?
Gotta turn it off.
The very nature of your ability was on full display, the Greymakers. You, sir, are not being truthful. Bragsworth leans back in his chair and looks at Lord Callion. Well, it's not that I'm not being truthful. I mean, how am I to know that you're a trustworthy individual? If I do one of these paintings for you, what purpose do you have for it? I have an interested party who would like to see the results of one of your paintings. Oh, well, I can probably make do with a little traveling case I brought with me back at the Gilded Mirage. I would be more than happy to paint for you. What would the painting be of? The core spire of Jrusar. I would like to hang this painting in the administrative offices and council chambers before the next meeting, when we expect Jamansa Ord to give their final speech before the council votes on rejoining with Ank'Harel and reaffirming Ank'Harel's capital status. Oh, that sounds intriguing. You don't seem so happy about that, sir. Well, happiness and the expectation of what you can and cannot control not always in alignment with each other, I assure you of that. Can you or can you not paint me the damn painting, sir? Yes, Lord Callion. Commissioner's fee, of course. Of course. Well, in that case, Fawn, you're rehired. Keep an eye on Bragsworth. As soon as the painting is done, deliver him and the painting to the administrative hall. Good day. He gets up in a huff, throws a few coins of gold on the table, and turns and immediately walks out of the tavern.
Can I roll an insight check on the end of that? Just like his fight, the last bit of the conversation.
Yeah. Go for
If
it.
if it's one of those like, whatever, we're done here, I'm gonna actually do something else after this, or if he's being serious that we're cool. Hey, that's a good roll. Insight. That's a dirty 20.
He is incredibly annoyed. He did not
So-
appreciate Bragsworth's kind of playful talk, and you get the feeling that he's just not a fan of dealing with people like him.
So as he's walking away, like, Foreign's gonna, you left me with him again, but now you see, as he's like walking out the door.
Can Karina communicate with Evil and just ask him to start following Callion as he leaves the tavern?
Oh yes, mistress, I can do that for you. You see the flutter of feathers, and as Evil goes flying out of the rafters of the upper parts of the tavern, and begins, you see him kind of start flying as
What's
if
up,
he's
Rita?
following somebody. Well, I'd have to say that went swimmingly.
I'm gonna pick up the coins that he dropped on the table and take them up to the counter.
Good idea.
Last time there was a tracker in some of them coins.
What did you think of Lord Callion's performance? He seemed quite upset with me. And who do you think his special friend is that he's commissioned the work for? And who do you think has been investigating the findings of the Greymakers at the auction? I wonder.
You told us Crimp was there, right? Callie? Corinna told us that Crimp was there, right?
I mean, you mean in the
After the Greymakers, when the Shimmerling, he was there to take the pieces away and all that, right?
yes.
Could be Crimp. It could be this other guy, is his
Spike.
name Spike.
Yeah.
Minotaur.
I'm actually. What does he think your magic does? Because
Oh,
if
I
he
suppose
wants
he
to,
thinks my magic creates gateways, but I can assure you it does not.
no, I understand, but would it be a gateway or a trap? Because if he's trying to put the core spy there, and if he,
Well, see, that's the problem. I'm telling you the truth. I do not put magic into my paintings.
no,
When I did that painting for the Greymakers, it was a normal painting. If someone else got a hold of that painting and did something to it, I can assure you, it was not me.
Did you give that painting to Rosala?
Yes? How do you know that name?
Well, we met her at the Greymakers auction. She was beautiful, but so cowardly. She ran away as soon as the portal was opened. But she seemed
You
like
mean she ran as if maybe she knew it was going to open?
she ran after it was opened. I wonder if she knew more about it than
Rosella did not
Should've.
strike me as a person of cowardice. I find that very interesting. I'll have to make some inquiries. Well, I'm going to leave the day to the five of you. I'm going to head back to the Gilded Mirage, make my painting, and make some special inquiries.
Oh,
Don't
just
worry, Fawn. I will stay indoors, safely stowed away, so you don't actually have to follow old grumpy Bragsworth around.
wait.
It's not- go ahead.
Sorry, I'm not sure if we showed you that, good sir. And then she takes out the pieces of the painting. He did look at it, but like the frame that had some kind of magical inscription around it that was meant to hold the magic itself. I'll give it to him in case he can use that to figure out what happened to his paintings.
Oh, thank you, Grandoff. Always nice to see an old lady smoking a pipe. Bragsworth takes the fragment remains, tucks them into the inside pockets of his jacket,
Please
and walks up to the bartender. Yes, phone?
take one of these with you, just in
Oh,
case.
joy, another piece of you that's shedded off. Sounds so wonderful. Barkeep, one for the road. And he walks up to Brokem, takes another one. A straw and flour, please. Takes it and then heads out into the busy streets. Looks right, looks left. Now, how do I get back to where I begun? As he disappears into the crowd. Leaving the five of you at the...
So I'm gonna I'll look over to Melody and well, we should go and kind of like signal to the others because we weren't all sitting at the table together.
Correct.
Just in case anyone else is still watching.
Yeah.
Get up and we'll walk out, dropping a couple of coins on the table.
Okay.
Karina goes back to finish her soup.
This is the best bisque ever. Easy on the gums.
The gruel reminds me of my childhood.
So as the three of you head out and back into the Airy Spire, Grandoff and Eritrea, what are you two doing?
Young sir. I'm not dropping this. I believe we have some grave matters to discuss.
Yes. Yeah, I
Eritrea starts pushing your wheelchair.
yeah. I believe you'll be in a grave soon, but that's
You're not getting any money from my will.
as I wasn't anyway.
Well, the patrons are like listening to you two argue the whole way out of the tavern, and even Brokem's like cleaning the glass and shaking his head like, "What the fuck, man?" And then you two end up. So the five of you are now back out in the streets of the Spire.
Should you think we should go maybe take a look at the old burned remains? If Spike really is a part of all that, perhaps there may be some people lingering around.
Which
Plus,
burned remains?
the more recent ones. We're on the Airy Spire, right? The Airy Spire, where the ship blew up.
It was a genuine question.
Baby, knock it off, please.
I'm
But look where the Ironbound met its fate. But if that ship was docked there in the harbor and it was wide open, and so it was an open secret. It wasn't anything hiding. So perhaps we should investigate around there a little bit while we've got some time. Try not to start any fires this time, myself included.
I appreciate you taking responsibility for that, but thank you, Fallen. Thank you. Could have been hurtful, but
Oh no, you don't understand. The smolder spire, that I may not have had something to do with that one.
Why is that the least surprising? You know what? Yep. Nope. Yep.
I understand.
I'm thinking.
But I'll start. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking I might like to go talk to Inquisitor Elia again. I'm wondering if she knows anything else about the speech that Jabon Sword is going to give. And also, I think she might be really mad at me. So, let's go check in.
Are you sure you want to go alone, like anywhere ever after what happened?
Oh, it's fine. I'm not worried about it.
It's like riding a bike. If you don't do it again,
Yeah,
you'll
there's
be
an
scared
occasional
forever.
party foul. Sometimes you get kidnapped.
Party
I
foul.
don't think you should go alone after what happened.
Well, if you want to come with, you're welcome to.
I do, but I hate Elia. Treyo, how do you feel about this?
I'll accompany the lady.
And Karina kind of winks at you.
I blush.
Well, Professor, I guess it's you and me.
And I'll go to the library.
So Melody and Eritrea are going to go track down Elliot. And Karina, you're heading up to the...
There's a library on the Airy Spire, I thought.
It is.
There's also in House Loomis, there was like some kind of records available or some kind of research available. I feel like it's been long enough that if I pretend to be somebody that I know wouldn't look out of place there.
Yeah, on the Airy Spire, there's the Ascension's Rise, which is a famous university that's attached to a place called the Parlor of the Collective, which also has a lot of ancient tomes. It's the largest of the collection of works of written histories and written information within Jrusar. But each of the guild houses and each of the family houses tend to have their own smaller libraries that kind of speak to the history of their families and speak to the history of their time within Jrusar. So, yeah, I mean, House Luminous, if you can get onto the property, there is a small library located there as well.
Do I have a sense of which library would just have more information that I'm looking for?
You get I mean, what's the bulk of what you're trying to do research on?
Gateways in the history of Jrusar and
Ascension's Rise for sure would have a lot more information about that.
And if I can find anything about the symbol I found and the First Fallen, just kind of using this afternoon to catch up on as much as I can.
Ooh,
Like
the
a good
last hour
student.
of the game is going to be lore drops. I love it. As long as her rolls aren't crap, I guess.
Oh.
What was that?
Don't hold your breath then.
So Karina is heading off to the Ascension Rise. Foreign and Professor Javeltros, where are you guys heading off to?
We're going to head back around to the docks where the repair is happening, but with the express intent looking for anyone that may be associated with that group of dwarves and the Ironbound.
Okay. Melody and Eritrea. The journey to Bahamut's temple is pretty easy to find. It's one of the more established temples that are here. You arrive to find Ilya very contemplatively sitting in the pews and kind of lost in thought. She doesn't even see you and Eritrea standing there until she looks up from her thoughts. Oh, Melody? Eritrea? Hello? How are you doing? Is everything okay? She kind of awkwardly stands with a little bit of a limp.
I'd like to, if possible, have brought with us like a little basket of flowers and Bahamut's colors, whatever those colors are.
Silver and white and
White.
Yeah, the great platinum dragon.
Just little sort of, little white flowers. Elith, how are you doing? I'll actually go ahead and try and like give her a hug.
She gives you a slightly awkward returning hug. I'm fine. I'm doing okay.
You still got a little bit of a limp?
Yes, not all bodies heal equally, unfortunately.
What are you doing here today?
Contemplating going back to Vasselheim.
Back to Vasselheim? Why? You wanted to travel.
This This journey has tested my patience, and I have to be honest with you. I don't think I'm cut out for this. I've had a couple days to think about it, and to be honest with you, I miss home. I miss my family. I miss my friends. I think that this was a bad idea.
Are you going home because you miss home, or are you going home because you're scared?
I guess it's a little bit of both at this point. I never understood why they gave me my Inquisitor title so young. I almost feel like they set me out here to fail. To prove the point that Jrusar is non-redeemable, as they say. They've been looking for reasons, I think, to withdraw the Bahamut Temple from Jrusar. And I think with the latest occurrences, they may be right. Maybe the city is too far gone.
What do you mean?
Well, getting kidnapped in the wide open while on your way back from a good time evening doesn't sound like a city that's in the process of change, if you ask me. I mean, maybe you're used to being kidnapped all the time. I don't know. You've got that party girl vibe. I don't really have that party girl vibe.
It doesn't happen to me all the time, I'll tell you that much. But I also don't feel like...
You handled it so well.
Well, I did my best. What else are we going to do, right? Like...
But I don't have friends here that will rescue me every time I get into trouble, Melody. You've got your friend here, Eritrea, and your other friends that travel with you. I'm barely even noticed or recognized here.
You don't feel like you have us?
I don't know. Do I?
I want to hand her the little basket of flowers and say, I got these for you on the way. I know it probably feels frivolous, but they're pretty. They made me think of you.
Give me a persuasion check, if you would, please.
Okay.
And
are we still in that hour?
You're still within that hour.
Okay. All right.
And you got guidance, too.
And you got guidance,
nice.
yeah.
Okay.
Stack it.
Oh,
Stack it.
Baby.
it absolutely persuaded Elith. Okay, well, I just rolled a nat 1, but that does become a 10. So 10 plus 7 is 17, plus 2 is 19.
19.
That was a 1.
It was a 1.
That 1 was 19.
Well, she had that special
With
ability up that if she
Yeah.
failed,
Jesus
she could-
fucking Christ, Melody.
yeah, she could just add a 10 to it.
That was the best reaction to a nat 1 ever.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
What? A 19?
So what is it?
Basket of-
20?
No, it'd still be a 19.
She takes the basket of flowers from you, and there's this kind of warm smile. She blushes a little bit. Well, maybe I am being a bit rash. I feel so alone here. I was so certain that if I did things the way that I was trained, things would just fall into place so easily. And the city is confusing. This place is confusing. I'm supposed to go to the meeting tomorrow. There's a big council meeting in a few days. Supposedly Jrusar Ord and the council are going to make some kind of announcement.
Yeah, we heard about that today. Do you know anything about it?
I don't, but I'm expected to report on whatever happens here to my contacts in Vasselheim. The Dawn Marshals are quite specific about what their expectations are of me while I'm here in Jrusar. And the High Bearer of Bahamut is also very expectant of me as well. Don't want to disappoint, but unfortunately I've heard nothing or have had any suspicions of what Jrusar Ord's announcement is going to be. But supposedly it's all the rumor of the city. People are talking all about it. According to those that I have talked to, they seem to think it's about the unification of Jrusar and Ank'Harel, declaring their kingdoms bound and recognizing Ank'Harel as the capital of the Odorlin Wilds, and the joining of the Rumadan and the joining of the Odolins together for the first time in a very long time since the Great Schism many years ago. The only thing that I think remains in their way is to deal with the Hellcatch Valley, of course. They may have a separate opinion upon this so-called deal. It would not be pleasant, I think, to be sandwiched in between two kingdoms. But I don't know.
Do you think that's what this push is all about? Control of the Hellcatch?
Well, the Hellcatch does offer up unique resources and influences over the border regions of the Rumadon, as well as the gateway into the south and eastern portions of Marquet. If you were looking to reestablish empire, I would think the Hellcatch at some point would have to be dealt with, of course. It is mostly a lawless region of nomads and criminals and gangs, but I don't know enough about it to give it much more opinion than that.
When we talked a little while ago, you said you were strangely compelled by Jaman, and we both thought there was something a little off about his last speech. Do you still feel that way? Like there might be something wrong?
They have a unique charisma, after all. They are a dragon.
Do you think that it really is Jaman?
Well, why would it not be, Jaman? I'm not sure what you mean.
Stay there, guys.
I had never seen Jaman's sword before a couple weeks ago, but I was told by someone without a lot of incentive to lie that Jaman might not be who they seem.
Oh. Well, that puts a little bit of a curve on things, I think. What else would they be? I don't understand.
Maybe a changeling?
Oh, that would be bad then.
Why would that be bad?
Well, that would presume that if it is a changeling, then where is the original Jamansa Ord?
I don't know. It does seem crazy to me, right? But there's been something strange about them since they've gotten here. It feels like...
But the dragon was here. You remember seeing the
I
dragon?
do remember seeing a dragon.
Can changeling?
I didn't
I
know
guess
what
a
it
changeling
know what
could
it
use
changed
magic to polymorph into a dragon, but they seemed so certain. I was positive that was Jamansa Ord. They did seem to have a magical effect during the first meeting. I didn't think much about it, but now it's gotten a little bit more curious.
What are you or your superiors hoping is going to come out of this meeting? Do you have a stance, or are you really just observers?
I think we're mostly intended to be in the gallery, observing the meeting and seeing what the vote is all about. I don't think we have much say.
I just think there's more going on than we're seeing, and there are fugitive populations in the Hellcatch that will not be safe if the Hellcatch is overtaken.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
maybe?
I hope
You
that you...
seem worried about something, Melody. What worries you?
Yeah. Okay. Give me a second, guys.
If you have to leave, if you'd be happier in Vasselheim, then you should do that. But I think there's a lot of bad stuff going on here, and I think we can unravel it, but we can't do it by ourselves.
As you and Elith are having this conversation, Eritrea, give me a wisdom save.
Hey,
if you
it's
would,
okay,
please.
baby. It's okay.
+4.
You said? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Everybody okay?
Waiting for Eritrio's wisdom.
Brian,
16.
is that with the +4?
Yes.
Eritrea, as you're watching
No, baby, I'm
Melody
sorry.
and Elith have this conversation, as they're having this conversation, you hear a whisper.
Ugh.
You hear it in your mind. You look around. You look through the open doorway that you walked into, and you see a figure move quickly into the gardens, the Bahamut gardens. And then you hear it again. It's this compelling whisper. Without acknowledging anything towards Melody or Elith, you just kind of wander away down the stairs, out into the garden. You look left, you look right. You can see a partially obscured figure amongst the gardens. Yes, I see you, Andrew. You are so much more than what you can see in front of you. The figure kind of melts further into the gardens. You find yourself standing there amongst the gardens. Sir, are you okay, sir? Are you injured, sir? Are you, sir?
Thank you for your concerns.
But your face, sir. Have you been injured? Do you need help?
I have not. I appreciate your concern, though, and I believe I
Feel
just
moist. You can feel like moist rivulets
Oh.
running down your cheeks.
I just think I just need to have a little more fresh air.
Oh, well, if you're suffering from an ailment, sir, we can treat it if necessary. You've got blood on your face.
Well, I believe I'm okay.
Goes
Thank
away.
you.
Bright crimson blood is now on your fingers from the corners of your eyes. Are you sure you're okay, sir?
I believe so. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It's
Well, very well. The adept kind of wanders off into the garden yet again. You stand there looking around. You can see the gravel pathway that leads back towards the stairs and the stairs that lead back up into the temple. Melody, as you and Elith are having a conversation, you notice that Eritrea is no longer standing nearby, nowhere around you.
But where did Treo go? Looking around for him.
Don't know. Should we go
Treo?
look for him? You hear someone calling your name, Treo, at the entrance of the temple. You can see Elith and Melody looking out towards the gardens. You can see them standing up there. They don't notice you yet because you're deep enough in the gardens where they can't quite see you.
I want to wander towards where I saw the figure walk to.
You walk a little bit deeper. You can hear them calling out to you. But you walk a little bit deeper into the garden, and there is a gravestone, half kind of submerged underneath the undergrowth of a tree. It's got a bronze plate on it and some writing on it. You're pretty sure that's where you thought the figure was standing.
Can I read writing on the tombstone?
It's in common. It says, "Here lies the Dame." Gives like a date. They were buried here maybe 5-6 years ago. And and they're described as a loving priestess of Bahamut.
Can I find the gentleman that was asking me if I was okay? Is he still
Yeah,
around?
he's nearby, like pulling some herbs and other things out of the garden to be taken in for procession. So he's nearby.
Can I kind of hail him over? I want to ask him about this grave.
Oh, I see you've recovered, sir. Oh yes, the High-Bearer Dame. She was a very influential member of the Bahamut temple. She was the one that opened the temple here in Jrusar, maybe 50, 60 years ago. Unfortunately, she was ailed with an affliction after the great schism of the Shadowfell and the Feywild. Died some years afterwards.
Kind of infliction.
I don't know. I mean, she was an Azamar, so I'm not really familiar with their overall nature of what they are. Azamars have, no offense, sir. No offense. Sorry. Just not familiar with your kind. You're so rare.
Is there anyone here that would know more about her or that knew her well?
Not really sure. Most of the original priests and priestesses that were here have cycled through and gone back to Vasselheim or other ports of call to continue their callings. Perhaps maybe the church library could offer you something. We do keep one.
Thank you. You're a very good help. You're a very good man.
Melody, you and Elith come down the long gravel pathway. You can see Eritrea over in the garden talking to a young adept of the church. They seem to finish their conversation. The adept walks away, and Eritrea is just kind of standing there lost in thought.
Hey, you got blood on your face.
Yes.
What happened?
I
Did you just wander away in the middle of our conversation?
yes. I'm sorry. Something drew me.
Like, what?
Some sort of shadowy, ghostly figure, and seemed to be over by this grave.
Elith, you know anything about the dame?
Only the basic information about her, that she's the founder of the Bahamut Temple here some 60 years ago. After the schism of the Fae and the Shadowfell, I believe she fell ill and died 4 or 5 years after the schism. Other than that, I don't know much else about her. She was greatly loved and greatly ordained within the order. Most couldn't understand her insistence on residing out here. She was someone that most people felt that she would achieve higher office in other places, but she seemed confined to serving in Jrusar.
Any chance you could do some more research on her? Do you have time?
We have access to a library here, of course. I don't see why not.
Yes, I feel compelled to know more about her.
Well, here, I'll take the two of you to the library. Follow me. And she starts leading you back up into the temple and back.
Melody's like, no, you're supposed to research
college.
separately.
Is there a bar in the library?
Forn and Professor Jalatras, you guys arrive back up into the stanchions of the airships, and the skeletal remains of 3 or 4 different airships still are here, collapsed into the foundations of the Airy Spire. You can see that it is very much a chaotic activity of cleanup, clearing the big piles of debris. Every now and then a debris pile will be shifted away, and you hear someone yell, "Found another one!" And then people kind of like go down and pull a body out of the embers, the dry ash, and cool the embers of the fire, put them kind of like on a gurney, wrap them up in linens, and carry them off towards a a waiting point. Huge mountains of debris are being pushed over the edges of the cliff to fall harmlessly down into the wilds below. There seems to be a very sense of urgent need to get this place cleaned up.
Muted. Sorry. I like as we pull up, I am intently looking at everybody around and trying to look for who looks like they're supposed to be here. They're doing the work on purpose, like they're help work, and then who doesn't belong or is trying to, for lack of a better word, infiltrate. Maybe they're looking for something specific, but they're not like everyone's working on this, and then one person is specifically checking, kind of apart from everybody else, kind of thing.
Stiffy girl.
Got you. Since that's an effort to do that, give me investigation.
Okay.
Jabaltros, while Foreign is doing that, what are you doing with your time?
I would like to try to find out, try to see whoever the foreperson is, or like the crew chief. Just walk up to them, just like roll up my shirt sleeves.
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Oh, I'm bad at those.
It was a nat 20 plus 4, so 24.
Nice.
The best lore roll I've ever had.
Actually, that's not bad. That is an 18.
Nice.
Could this be a good lore day?
Oh my god! That means we're gonna die in the next session. That's all.
You see a Wardens captain, kind of directing people that occasionally come up to him, and he sends them off to do things. He's standing amongst a series of architectural tables with maps and other diagrams out. He seems to be the one in charge of the cleanup.
So I just want to kind of walk up to him, like just start unbuttoning the cuffs of my sleeves and rolling them up. Just kind of show off the guns. Just be, what can I do to help?
What is your name, sir?
Professor Jalpatros.
Oh, I don't know. What can you do to help?
Well, I'm a paladin, but I don't know how well that's going to apply here. As you can see, I am quite physically fit. I'm extremely strong, especially for my species. I can fly.
Yes, I understand. You have wings. I would
yes,
you to be able to fly. I would imagine enough for decoration.
I couldn't hear you there. I'm sorry.
I would expect enough for decoration.
Whatever it is that you need me. So
Well, there is that large ship down there that needs further recovery. If you're so inclined, you may help in disposing of the bodies and helping in recover the debris and other findings within that ship. We believe it to be the source of the conflagration.
Just kind of grip my beak, just like, of course. Just kind of very somberly fly down to the ship.
Before you watch it, Professor Jabatros drifts down towards where one of the ships are being recovered by a large group of people. Professor, when you land amongst the debris and waste material of the burnt fire, there are numerous individuals down here working, shoveling, filling up carts with burnt ash, and shifting burnt timbers. And that's when you notice they begin to reveal a good portion of the cargo hold that had survived the fire. And that's where you could see the bent bars of the burnt-in cages. You watch as one of the people sees somebody underneath the burnt timbers. So we have another one over here. And you watch as one of the caretakers comes running over. Ah, yes. Poor soul. Drag the dwarf out, would you? You watch as the dwarf's body is dragged out from underneath the ember and ash. You recognize it as one of the guards that fell during the fight with the Iron Collective. Or the Iron Bound, sorry. I have another group that uses the Iron Collective for a different guild. Just
kind of squints at the dwarf, just tries not to mutter anything about them under his breath, and just try to find whoever it is that seems like they're in charge of the cleanup here, and just wait to be assigned a task.
A young woman sees you standing around. Sir, if you wouldn't mind helping us remove the body, we could use the help.
Of course. Just kind of lift the dwarf up. Is there any particular place you're carrying these, or are they?
Yes, if you take them over to the gurneys there where the others are, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Of course, and just carry the dwarf over to where the other bodies are stacked. Just like, why did you stack? Why would you store your powder magazine directly below your main cannon? So many innocents died because of you. I had my part. I had my part to play in this, but just like that's if you know nothing of how to properly store these things. All right, just guy sets him down, comes back, and that's been done. Do you need me to help clear away timbers?
Yes, please. We're trying to get deeper into the hold. We suspect there might be more bodies down there, and we're trying to recover as many as we can.
I will tell you, having some familiarity with a ship, I rather doubt it. Just judging from the pile over there, I believe that's most of the crew accounted for.
How are you familiar with the ship, good sir?
I was given a tour a few days ago. They had some wares that interested me.
Give me a deception check on that. Because that is a bold-faced lie.
I mean, they did. They had Melody there. They don't need to know that she was,
Melody
that's
was
17.
interesting wares that you were investigating.
Uh-huh. That's 17.
17? A little
If
bit.
that's on the border, I do have inspiration I can use, but
No, they rolled a 12 for insight.
Okay.
I see. Sorry that this is painful for you. But if you're familiar with the ship, we could definitely use your help then.
of course, direct me to whatever you need. I'll do my best.
While you're doing this, Jabatros, give me an investigation check because you are also looking while helping, I would imagine.
Not great. That's a 7. Oh, wait, is that a 2 or is that a 5? That is a 7.
7? Fair
Yeah,
enough.
not great.
Thorin, you're up on the walkways that lead down into the burnt piles of the remaining airship. You could see the one that caught fire next to it is mostly cleaned up. They seem to mostly be working on the ironbound ship for the most part, and it was a pretty large, massive ship and took up 2 or 3 stanchions on its own, and therefore kind of destroyed a couple of the stanchions as well. In a very familiar location, because you glance up to look where you and your friends had kind of like hidden up in the tall structures to look down during the rescue of Melody. You can see the silhouette of somebody up there perched, trying not to be seen, but your perception check was pretty high. It beat their stealth check. So you could see them up there, but you're too far away to make out details. But there's definitely somebody up there perched and kind of keeping an eye and very purposely trying not to be seen while watching the activities down below in the stanchions.
How far away are they, roughly?
It'd
from
be
that
about 1,000 feet away at the top of a nearby building. You'd have to walk through a couple alleyways, climb up the stone stairs to get up to the top of the four-story structure.
Yep.
It's a large structure that looks down into the stanchion.
I'm gonna start making my way there, but nonchalantly, because I'm just like I'm walking. I'm just gonna turn and just like I'm walking away from everything, but towards
They're
where they
very
are,
much
but just
not looking in your direction. They're focused on the debris piles down below in the stanchion. So you're able to kind of peruse through the different alleyways and streets, and you get to the base of the 4-story building. Give me a stealth check if you plan on going up
Sure.
up into the building.
Yep. I got fancy shoes on, so I get advantage. Wow. Not great. So I shouldn't have bragged about my fancy shoes. I rolled a 1 and a 5. So that's 12 with yeah.
You begin to make your way up the stairs, and there are an outer perimeter stone stairs that kind of form around the building.
Mhm.
And you get to the top. You start creeping over the edge of the top, and now there's no one there.
Okay. I will. Let me see. I'm going to cast. Does keep me in spot? Oh no, it keeps me in the spot. Never mind. I will. Okay, I'll cast Zephyr Strike. I'll use Zephyr Strike on myself
Okay.
to give me a boost of speed.
Okay.
And I'm gonna start swirling back down the stairs, trying to I'll go up to the top first, and I'll start looking around, and then if I don't see anything up there, I'm gonna start running back down the stairs.
Look at that doggo. Oh, hi,
Uh-huh.
Mom. You guys were gone
Hey.
for a long time. I missed you. So as you cast Zephyr Strike on yourself and you start running as fast as you can back down the stairs, out amongst the crowd, you see a familiar person that works for the Ivory Syndicate. They look over over their shoulder at you, kind of wink, and then go invisible.
Before they wink, or before they not wink, but before they go invisible, can I? When they started to turn around, how far away were they?
Maybe 120, 130 feet.
Okay.
And you recognized him as Trafar Airswift.
Yeah, that bastard.
That guy.
I would just take a shot at him, honestly. I hate that guy. He tried to kill me twice now.
Yeah, he's been a real
Shot.
shot inside.
So,
You'll have disadvantage because he's invisible. But yeah, take the shot.
but I get advantage because of Zephyr Strike.
Therefore, it's a regular shot. Yeah, go for it.
Yep. So, now I got to pick the dice to use. And I'm doing it with my the rifle, the big one.
Remember, he is in a crowded space. There are a lot of people around him where he just went invisible.
Well,
If you miss, you'll hit someone in the crowd.
Ugh.
Yep. But Bourne is angry.
No.
I'll take that. That's a 19 plus 9 is a 28.
Your rifle cracks. As it cracks off, 3 people are pushed to the ground as an invisible figure who still remains invisible, which tells you he casts greater invisibility on himself. You can then see a blood trail kind of spatter on a couple of the nearby individuals. And now you can see people being pushed out of the way into the center of the crowd. And he's making a run for it.
Okay, I'm going to chase following the blood trails, and I'm like running and loading at this point. And I will cast Zephyr Strike on myself again to get me that boost of speed to close, hopefully to be closing the distance.
Okay. With that, as you pursue Trafar, Karina, you are up in the Ascension's Rise of the Airy Spire. As you're now way above the stanchions and the docks, you're in a kind of separate tower that kind of leans away from both the Stargazer, which is slightly below as well, the stanchions off to the side. And you can see this huge pearlescent structure that you kind of take the stairs up into. And it is by far the most impressive library you've ever seen. It is a series of of circular interior structures that go up and up and up, many tens of feet. Thousands of books are kind of like everywhere, but in a bit of an organized chaos. A librarian sees you come in. Yes, dear. What can I do for you?
Hi, I am looking for any information regarding gateways through Jrusar, plane shifting through Jrusar.
Well, I imagine magical myths section might have something to offer you. That's on the 4th floor, right wing of the building.
Thank you very much. Also, is there a section where I might be able to find resources to identify symbols?
Yes, reliquary and heraldry. That'll be just below the 4th floor on the 3rd.
Thank you. And Karina's just like really enjoying her afternoon. Like, man, I miss this. This is what I wanted.
Rita's dream is Melody's nightmare.
It's like before all of this craziness, this was supposed to be my future. And she's also just gonna create a quick psychic connection with Evil to see if he ended up following the guy.
He returned to his administrative chambers, mistress. No deviation, no going off into any other places. Unfortunately, I can't follow him inside. This place is warded.
Thank you, Evil. I will reward you handsomely. For now, have the afternoon off.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, mistress. Goes flying off into the horizon.
And I guess I'll start with the planar shifts, anything that has to do with the gods that we've recently encountered. Anything that has to do with like the gods the professor has encountered, the demons trying to get through, the world the professor has come from, and like Jrusar being a gateway in any way or form.
Okay, give me an investigation check for, we'll say, for divinity topics.
Oof, rough. That's an 8.
An 8. Not much sticks out to you from the divinity perspective. Simple illustrations and information about the post period of divergence, recent authorship of the lack of divinity that's now in Exandria due to the apogee solstice and the weakening of the divine gate. Things, information, and common understanding of things that have happened within the last 10 years since the apogee and since the schism of the Fae and the Shadowfell. This is common historical knowledge that most people agree exists.
Okay, well, she's still enjoying it. She gets some tea. Then she goes to the area where she can research the symbol. She's gonna try and look at the symbol for a little bit and see if like it jogs any memories or if she's seen it before anywhere.
Give me a history check for starters, and then give me an investigation check as a follow-up.
History is 22.
Nice.
Investigation is a 10.
You find a book, and on the spine of this book matches the exact image on your brooch. It is a picture of a life tree, but it's blackened with a bit of tendril energy or tendril markings hanging from the branches. Written on the spine of the book, general understanding of covens.
Oh no. Okay, well, she starts reading, expecting her tea to be less pleasant as she goes.
Yeah, you start opening the book and you begin to read the book. The book is about covens of the Shadowfell, including the tethered magic of hags. And the book seems to focus mostly on a group of hags who had corrupted a life tree as their symbol, and were known as the many. They used to serve a group of hags called the Unseelie, but fell out of favor many centuries ago. Sought their own means of space within the Shadowfell, and is said to be the origin of some of the more nefarious hags that have been known to be found on the material plane. Some in Exandria themselves. It's a general topical book about hags.
Is there anything in the brooch that would indicate which particular hag group it might have originated in, or anything about the location?
Give me perception or investigation for this one.
Investigation has not been rolling well, even though I have a +6, so I'm gonna go perception. But I only have a. I'll do investigation.
Okay.
Okay, that's a 20. Oof.
You find a section of the book that focuses on a coven of 3 hags that were known as the Sundered Tree. The tree marking them as their symbol. These hags are renowned for manipulating and stealing small children from the material plane.
Yikes. When I kind of think about what I remember from the group that I came with that kind of hung out with Karina Prime, with, anything that I might remember from before that, does any of it kind of ring a bell at all?
You don't have a memory that's linked to anything that you remember being a hag-like origin. There's always been a little bit of mystery surrounding your arrival, but the one thing that kind of triggers your memory a bit is that everything around you seemed overly bright, overly cute, overly shiny, overly, good. Like, maybe you were experiencing an illusion at the time. A false identity of sorts, a false picture of what was going on.
Not great. She's gonna look up. Foreign told us a little bit about the hags that he was created by and that he is connected to. Can I look up in the book to see if I can find any information about them?
Sure. Give me another investigation check as you start trying to find anything related to Forn's past.
Oh my god, that's a 9. It's a 3 + 6.
Yeah, unfortunately, no specific information in this book, at least, regarding Forn's past and relation to hags.
Do I get a sense from the book whether or not groups of hags like to work with each other or hate working with each other?
The only known during the period of the Feywild, hags were notoriously chaotic. They fostered their energy and power off of the emotional connection with the material plane. Once the Feywild no longer had a connection to the material plane, most believe that hags would fall into disillusionment, would eventually become possibly even extinct, because without either the Shadowfell or the Feywild for them to tether their power to, then the emotion that they exude into the material plane cannot bring that power back to them. So you get a general understanding of those connections. You also have a personal knowledge that when people get desperate, they're more likely to work with each other. They're more inclined to work with each other. If you were a hag who no longer had access to your, the sense of your existence, maybe you would work with other hags to kind of come up with an expectation. But for the most part, they're solitude creatures. When they do decide to work together, they'll sometimes form a coven, and it's usually their 3 different personalities that kind of make up the idea of what their coven represents. It's almost a kind of survival method for them.
Do I recall any strange trios that I've met along the way at all?
Not particularly. Not really. I mean, Foreign's a little strange. A Traumaton was definitely strange, but likable. Other than that, I mean, you haven't really come across anyone that gives you the vibe of maybe being related to a hag or being strangely related to a hag.
And then I guess after that, I would like to research beacons and the way a beacon might hearken to a god in any capacity. But before that, I am gonna just do a quick identify or detect magic on the brooch and see if I can attune to it in any way, if there is any remnants of magic to it.
The brooch is magical. It does have a charm invocation on it. So once per day, you can use the charm spell that's imbued with the brooch. The brooch feels slightly light, but rattly, like there's something inside of it. You locate like a little kind of edge of like a little clasp on the side of the brooch that you didn't notice before. But because you've been handling it and looking at it so frequently, you can hear there's something inside the brooch.
I'm gonna try and open it.
You reach under and you pick off the little metal clasp, and the brooch opens. There are 3 small rune stones inside the brooch, each one having a unique depiction of the sundered tree. And there are strange, unintelligible names on the back of each of the stones. And there's almost kind of like a sputtering sound of magic when you open up the brooch.
I'm gonna try and say the names out loud and see if
The first name is in Sylvan, and the name is Weave. The second name is Hearken, and the third name is Disdain.
disdain. I can relate to you, girl. I'm gonna kind of say them out loud and see if I can just reach out to anything.
As you hold the brooch and the stones, one by one, you begin to say the name on the stones. It's at that moment you're completely washed in light and disappear. The book tumbling onto the ground. And that's where we're going to finish tonight.
Oh no!
Oh!
So being awash in white light isn't really good. So maybe this is fine.
But I'm a creature of darkness. It could kill
Don't
me.
go to the light. Don't go to the light.
Everybody, thank you for coming out and watching. Be kind, be safe. Don't forget to play a game. We'll be back here next week. We should be good next week. Everybody, go ahead and linger. We'll talk about the June schedule. Everyone else, thank you, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Hey, can you move your butt, Charles?
You move your butt, Charles. Just saying.